Okay, you can sit on a pillow if you want. I like to have my hips just slightly more elevated than my knees. That helps with circulation, but you don't have to. So if you don't have one nearby, you can just sit here on the ground in easy pose or with the legs out in front of you. If it's more comfortable, you can bend one leg and extend the other one. Find a position that allows you to find stability in the posture as we go ahead and turn our attention inward, closing the eyes and connecting with the breath, allowing the breath to flow without control, smoothly inhaling and exhaling, simply observing the movement. Both of the breath and the mind as we fall out of that head space and into the heart space. Allowing the dialogue to settle around us, to sink deeper into that place of inner knowing. As you sink into this place, take your attention to the spine. Notice the way that with each inhale, the spine naturally lengthens, the crown of the head reaching up towards the sky. The tailbone feels as though it's growing down towards the earth. As if it were a root extending from your body into the center of the earth. Like roots of a tree, you can feel yourself connecting to something bigger than you. Something that you form part of. And as that connection grows and expands, reaching all around you, call into your heart space any intentions that you might have for today's practice. And on the next exhale, go ahead and release that intention so it does not become expectation. And keeping the eyes closed, the attention turned inward, we're going to do some thoracic spine breaths from a seated position. So we're going to inhale the sternum as if we were extending the sternum outward. And exhale as if there were a concave in the spine. All of this is happening and my head is completely stable on my spine. Shoulders are not up or they are down, as if there were a platter on my shoulders. And the movement is born out of the pelvis. So there's a kind of rocking that happens here. We're rocking the pelvis and extending the thoracic spine, coordinating the breaths, inhaling forward, exhaling backwards, inhaling forward, exhaling to the back, expanding, contracting, expanding, contracting. And you can do this at your own pace. Always movement and breath work go together. The faster you move, the more heat you will generate, warming up the spine, awakening the lower back. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but yogis believe that youth is born of a flexible spine, that when we are flexible in our spine, then we are youthful. And so this movement with the breath, this expansion and contraction, allows for this mobility of the spine. We are becoming younger, more supple spines. Find your own rhythm in this. If you'd like to add another element to it, you can breathe and imagine the syllables in your third eye region. Sat, nam. Sat, nam. Inhale, exhale, nam. Sat on the inhale. You don't have to do that, only if it resonates with you. Two more inhale and exhales here. And then come back to a straight spine. Find that center. Reach the back of the neck up towards the ceiling. Check in with that lower back to be sure those sits bones are really reaching into the ground, that the tailbone is still rooted into the earth. Now we're going to do a similar movement here. So we're going to do circles with the spine. Inhaling the sternum forward. Exhaling as we curve the spine on a contraction. Inhale. Exhale. We're grinding anything that needs to be ground up. I believe this is one of the Sufi Kriyas that they grind their karma before they burn it. Let it be as quick or as slow as you'd like. Really tuning into the breath and the movement here. If you notice tension in the hip or the back or anywhere, allow the movement to slow upon reaching that tense part, and breathe into it as you move through it. completing one more circle now. Come back to center and we're going to reverse it. So reversing the circle, opposite of what you were doing before. Same movement, inhaling the chest outward, exhaling back. And complete one more circle. Coming back to center, finding that long spine again, reaching up through the back of the neck. Go ahead and open the eyes slowly, taking that same calm vision that we had inside to the outside world. And we're going to go ahead and do a lateral stretch, a small lateral stretch here. One of the things that tends to happen and that a lot of people don't know is that the low back does often get very tense because of the lateral side. The muscles here on the lateral get shortened. And so in order to relieve some of that the stress off of the low back, we can often just use a lateral stretch. So go ahead and if you need to stretch your feet out and shake them a bit before you come back to, and you can come back to easy pose. You can leave the legs like this. You can fold them again if you'd like, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the right arm and we're gonna attempt to, we're gonna place the palm on the ground and we're attempting to, without lifting the sits bones, lengthen our elbow towards the ground, okay? So I have my left arm is reaching up towards the sky. My right palm is flat on the ground. And with each exhale, I allow that elbow to simply reach for the ground, okay? So if this is where I'm at, that's okay. And then if you can go all the way over, that's fine too. You need to listen to your own body. So go ahead and the arm that's in the air, the left arm, lower that shoulder. So make sure that your shoulder's not up by your ear. Roll that shoulder back onto the spine and allow that oppositional pull to happen as you gaze up at the hand in the air. So I'm staring up at my left palm lovingly as my right elbow reaches for the ground. My sits bones are firmly placed on the ground and my shoulder is not up by my ear. It's rolled on back, the back of my spine. And inhale, using your hand to push you back up to a center position. You can take a deep breath here if you'd like. Go ahead and place the palm here on the mat. So now you have your left palm on the mat. Sits bones are firmly placed. If you're on a chair, you can do this same posture, simply just letting that hand reach for the ground as you reach up towards the sky. Rolling the shoulder back onto the spine, gazing up at the right palm. Notice the oppositional pull as your sits bones reach for the chair. Palm reaches for the sky. Left elbow reaches for the ground. You should feel this all along here. Let each exhale allow your limit to extend itself without pushing. Simply relaxing into the posture. And on the next inhale, use the hand on the ground to push you up and come back to center. Okay, so go ahead and roll the shoulders a bit here. Allow them to alternate. You can do a small little twist of the spine. If there's anything else that feels like you need to wake up in this region before we go into the next posture. The next posture is going to be with use of the chair. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. If you are in a chair, see if you can come down onto the ground and place the chair in front of you. Your feet are under the chair here, through the legs of the chair, and you're sitting up nice and tall. Okay? Paschimottanasana. We're sitting up nice and tall. Sits bones are reaching towards the ground. Legs are active, so reach those heels towards the wall away from you. You're reaching the heels. So you should feel a nice lengthen through the back of the knee. And then we're just going to take the palms and place it on the chair, on the seat of the chair. Okay? And with those active legs lengthening up through the back, I want you to visualize that you have an arrow through the center of your body. That arrow comes out right through the crown of your head and shoots out through the coccyx. We do not want to break this arrow. And so keeping that arrow really nice and straight, we're just going to walk the hands on the chair. And we're going to rest and respect our own limits. Notice that I'm not doing this. That's not what we're doing. We're lengthening. So, with each exhale, notice if there's room for the hands to walk just a bit further. Go ahead and walk those hands back. Let the legs be inactive. Shake out the knees a little. So we're going to do it one more time. You should notice that it's a little easier this time around. So activate the legs, push through those heels, sit up nice and tall, lengthen through the back neck. Place the palms on the seat of the chair and walk those hands forward. Being certain not to break the arrow. Allow every exhale to be a release. Then coming back up to a long spine. You can relax the legs. Now we're going to take our legs on the outside of the chair. So if you're near a wall like me, you may need to move over slightly. The legs are going to straddle the legs of the chair. So we're still sitting up nice and tall. But now instead of the legs being in front of me pointed out, they're just straddled enough to straddle the chair. Now, if you have flexible inner thighs, you can open those legs a little more. Find your limit to that opening, of the legs there. And make sure that the toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. So if the toes are pointing down towards the floor, then you might have your legs open just a little beyond your limit, so close them slightly. And so here we are in this position. First, we're going to do the same thing we did with Matyasana. We are going to sit up nice and straight here and reaching the back of the neck towards the sky. Go ahead and inhale the hands up towards the ceiling. Drop the shoulders onto the spine. Heels are pointing away from you, so legs are very active. And then we're just going to take those palms, put them on the chair, and allow the hands to walk us forward. Without crumbling the back, we are keeping long necks, long arrows through our spines. Giving ourselves a nice little lengthening session of that inner thigh. Allowing every exhale to lengthen. Go ahead and walk those hands back to a long spine position. Lengthening up through the spine again, releasing the hands down onto the hips here. I'm going to try something else. So now slide those hands onto your knees and allow the right hand to slide towards the toes. So I'm looking to reach my elbow to my knee. My palm can be up or down. And when we do this, check in with that hip on the ground. Push that sit bone onto the ground so that it's not up like this, it's down. Open the chest. If you need a little more stretch, you can go ahead and reach that arm over as well. If that's too much for you, that's okay. Leave the arm here on your thigh. Keep it nice and open. The chest is open. And go ahead and use your hand to come back to center. Here we are, I'm nice and straight, sitting up tall, legs are active, lengthening through the back. And I'm just gonna let my left hand now slide down my leg, reaching to connect that elbow with the knee. Checking in with this hip to be sure that that sit bone is reaching to the ground. And when I'm ready, if I want, I can add one more layer by raising that arm, keeping the sternum facing front, nice and open. One more long inhale and exhale here. On your next inhale, go ahead and come back up to center. Shake those legs. As you bring them back to center, you can put your hands back behind the hips now. Really take the stress off those legs. Give them some room to shake as you bring them back to center. And with those palms behind the hips, Now, I know some of you have some problems with the wrists and the lower carpal tunnel area. So this is try to keep the weight off those wrists, which means you have to activate the center. So you really need to tighten that belly button back towards the spine. If it's too much weight on your hands, there's a good possibility that you're not activating here. So really try to find that the letter V with the body. And you can hold on to the knees if it doesn't feel good to have the weight on the hands, okay? I'm gonna move my fingers towards my hips. Now, find stability here. Just hold it for a second. Squeeze those abs. That lower belly, squeeze it back towards the spine. Lift the sternum up towards the sky. Keep the head nice and long. And go ahead and come down onto your back. Woo! Did you hear that? My pelvis just popped. Okay, so here we are. We are going to do our pelvic lift from this position. So our heels are tucked close in towards the glutes. Belly button is squeezing down towards the floor. You can choose to have your palms down by the side if you want, or if you want to add an extra element, you can go ahead and take those palms to your chest. And so when we open into a W. It's up to you. Find what feels good for you. So here you can put your hands down and just do this. That's going to open up the psoas and work on strengthening these glute muscles to help give your lower back a little more support. And this is going to open up our shoulders. So if you've been doing a lot of gardening, this might be the one for you. We're going to inhale, peel that pelvis off the ground, reaching the pelvis up towards the sky. And when we need to exhale, roll through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly coming back down onto the mat. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Do this at your own speed, ladies. Inhaling on the up. Exhaling as you come down. Opening up as you rise. Contracting on the down. If you'd like to add another layer to this, you can visualize an orange lotus flower just below the belly button, between the belly button and the pelvic bone. 10-petal lotus flower in the color of orange that opens the petals on each inhale and closes the petals as she comes down to the ground. Last time. release the legs out, palms up. I'm going to take a short shavasana just to allow the practice thus far to take place on a cellular level. Simply witness the movement in and around the body. Go ahead and bring the attention back towards the body. We're going to bring the heels in once again. This time I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to cross it over my left. So my ankle of the right leg is on top of my left knee. And my knee falls open. Now, this is going to be different for everybody. It might look like this. It might look like this. It depends. I want you to find what feels good. So if this is too painful, you can slide the knee over so that you have one knee on top of the other knee. But really try to look for this. See if you can put the ankle over the top of the knee. And as you do this, take your fingers and lace them behind the left thigh. So you're bringing this left leg up into the sky. Now, this might not work for you. You may only get to here, and that's okay. This is not, there's nowhere to get. We're only working with our bodies and becoming more and more aware, tuning into the body. The body is a bridge to yourself, to your innermost self, your home. And so as you reach this leg, the left leg, towards your chest, push that lower back onto the ground. Don't let it pop up. Push the belly button towards the spine. Take a deep inhale and exhale here. And then unlink the hands, bring the left heel down to the ground. Extend the hands out by your side, palms up in a T, and just let that right knee fall over to the left side. The chin is swiveling out over towards the right shoulder. The knee is falling to the left. You should feel the spine twisting like a dish rag. And on your next inhale, go ahead and swivel your chin back up to the ceiling first, and then bring those legs back to center. Uncross the ankle from the knee. You can give yourself a little hug if you need to. Loving those kidneys, feeling grateful for all they do for us. You can open the knees and draw circles if that feels good. When you're ready, bring those legs back down, those feet back down onto the mat. I'm going to cross the left ankle over the right knee now. And then when you're ready, link the hands behind the back of the right thigh. Again, this may look like this, and that's okay. If you keep this foot on the ground and that's enough of a stretch for you, just check in with your lower belly and push that lower back towards the mat. For a little bit deeper stretch, you can lift this foot off the ground here, clasp the hands behind the thigh, and then press that lower back onto the ground. You'll probably notice that one side is a little more flexible than the other. That is totally normal. Let each inhale and exhale be a release here. Go ahead and lower that right leg back down, placing the foot on the mat, extending the palms out in a T. Let that knee fall over to the right as your chin swivels to the left, an oppositional twist. Knees falling to the right, chin is gazing out over the left shoulder. Go ahead and inhale the head back to center so that you're staring at the ceiling, and bring those legs back to center as well. Uncrossing the legs now. Go ahead and roll over onto one side. Rest there just for a second until you gather your gaze. Whenever you're ready, you can push up off the ground in order to come to a seated position. And we're going to get up off the ground now and do some work standing. So however it feels good to you to be able to get up, if you need to take the strain off of your knees, grab that chair so that you're here and use your hand to push up and grab onto the chair to get up, okay? I know some of you have had knee surgery, so I want to make sure you take care of those knees to get up off the ground. Okay, so let me check the time here. All right. We're just gonna do one more thing here, and we're gonna do it in goddess pose. So goddess pose is a wider stance here. Your toes are pointed out in a kind of V, okay? Now, it doesn't have to be too much of a V, just a little bit. The toes aren't pointed forward, in other words. They're pointed just a little bit out. And the goddess pose is a really interesting one, because what we want to be careful of is that our knees, as we flex the knees, that they're going right out over our feet, over our toes. So you don't want the knees to roll in like this, okay? If the knees are rolling in, then the feet are pointed out too much. So check in with your body and see where that perfect balance is so that you can bend your legs without your knees coming inward, okay? So make sure that the knees shoot right out over the toes as we do this. Good. I'm seeing all of you test it. I love it. Looks so good. Okay, so here we are. We're going to do something that is actually out of I don't think it's a Tai Chi tradition. It's one of the Chinese medicine. It could be Qigong. I don't know if it's Tai Chi or Qigong, but it doesn't matter. The most important thing that we're going to do here is we're going to bend our knees and we're going to gather water. We're going to lift that water up over our head and down. So we're visualizing this water gathering essence as a goddess. So we're flexing our knees, we're gathering water, visualize that big bubble of pure water as you bring it up over the sky and let it fall over you. So this is a meditative thing. You can turn your eyes inward if you'd like. Maintain the chest high as we do this. We gather this big bubble of water, bring it up, and we just let it fall and break over us. You can feel the water running down your spine, washing over you. And as you feel it, it washes away any fears, any instabilities. Takes it with the water as it runs down and back into the earth. Flexing the knees to gather the water. Pushing the floor away from us as we inhale. One more time, really feeling the way you dip down in, grab that water, push the earth away from you, you're grounded. Let that water flow over you and wash you clean. Come back to standing after you've finished your last cycle. Really taking a deep breath. You can move your feet in and come to mountain pose. Opening the palms to the front, pushing the floor away from you. Squeezing that belly button back towards the spine. And whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and find a place to slip into the relaxation part of today's practice. If you need to lie down, you can do that. You can also do it sitting in a chair, whichever feels good to you. as you settle back down onto your mat, allow a pleasant wave of heaviness to flow over you. It's as if each and every muscle simply lets loose and sinks down into the earth. With each exhale, you can feel yourself let go even further, loosening and letting go of each and every tendon, ligament, and nerve ending, every single muscle, all of the tiny articulations. Simply notice the way you begin to sink into yourself, to that deeper part of self. You can do this from a seated position or lying on your back, whichever feels best to you. Simply turn your attention into that inner knowing. Begin scanning the body. Let the light be orange today. A bright orange light as it starts at the top of the crown. You can feel the way this light expands outward, tracing the outline of the body, but expanding beyond what is form. Touching both the physical and psychophysical parts of your being. Allow that light to ebb and flow through the body as it extends itself over the head, the backs of the eyes, in between all of the smallest bones of the face. And everywhere that light touches, simply lets loose, feeling a cozy warmth of security in your knowing. Allow that light to continue down the neck, in between the tiny articulations of the sternum and the rib cage, and all of the areas of the shoulder. It's as though this orange, this warm light is dripping down the body, covering the body as if it were the landscape, the sun shining on the mountains. Allow that light to continue journeying deeper and deeper, touching now all of the vital organs, every single vertebrae, expanding in between the articulations of the hips and the lower back, and every single place that light touches, simply lets loose. So light expands down the thighs and knees, and calves and ankles, and finally reaches the heel, arch, and instep. And finally the toes. You witness this self encompassed in this orange light. I want you to visualize that lotus flower again. This time make it 6 petals. A 6-petaled lotus flower in between the pelvic bone and the belly button. And it is the brightest color of orange, shining even brighter than the light that encompasses your being. Notice the flower. As it expands and contracts with each inhale and exhale. And as you take your attention just above the crown, you notice that there is a crescent moon. This crescent moon represents the tides, the ebb and flow of the water, this cleansing, purifying source of nature that you form part of. Simply rest in this vision, this balance of groundedness and celestial purity. With this same balance and equanimity, little by little begin to reincorporate into the exterior world. You can begin to move your toes and fingers. Maintaining the same attitude of awareness. Little by little, coming back to the moment that is now. If you're lying down, you can begin to move and slowly make your way to a seated position. If you're already sitting, begin to perhaps stretch the legs. Thank you so much for coming to practice with me today, for trying new things that feel scary, for experiencing the moment as it is, for being willing to share the moment with all of us. Thank you to your openness, and to your light, and to your entire essence. I feel incredibly grateful to share this with you all. May your day be blessed. May your week be open. And may you be washed with the purest of waters in your unshakable groundedness. Satnam.
Thank you.
Oh, hi. How was that? It's so strange to do this with the mute on. It's like I know you're here, and I look up and I see you guys moving, but it's an interesting thing. How's everyone feeling after that?
Good.
Wonderful.
Good. Good. So glad to hear it. So all of those things that we did are really great for lower back. And if you tend to have some lower back stuff going on, you may want to try to work in a couple of these postures into your daily wake-up session. You know, find one that feels good and just do one. You don't need to do a whole sequence. Find one that feels good. And that's it. Just do it every day when you wake up.
Sounds good.
As always,
Thank you.
I always leave a little bit of time at the end if there's anything that anybody wants to share in the way of a Dharma talk or anything, insights that's been coming up, anything that you feel you want to get off your heart. I'm here to listen if that resonates with you, and if not, then that's okay too. And just really thank you for coming and signing on and practicing with all of us.
Thank you,
Thanks, Stephanie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
you.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you all.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Be sure to hang out, Iris.
Yes, I will. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Stephanie. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Debbie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Stephanie.
Bye. So Karen, how was it? This was your first time. How did it feel for you?
Glad to be back.
Good. I'm so glad that you decided to brave this new technology.
I didn't know if it'd work on my little tiny iPad and where to do it, but I'll keep experimenting. But anyway, it was good.
I'm glad. I'm really glad.
Gives me a schedule.
Awesome. Now, Iris, can you hear me now? No.
Can't, huh?
Yeah, that is so strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Susan, how does that feel on your back?
It feels pretty good. And you know what I'm thinking? I would love to take a Epsom salt bath now.
Oh, you should do that then. Go
I
do
will.
it right now. I think that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I will. Because I didn't take a shower yet today. So it sounds perfect.
Good. All right. Well, I'm glad that you joined this class today. I think it's good for you. Do you notice how the mat class is fine for you?
I realized that I've done myself a disservice not being on the floor for, 6 years or however many years I've been doing the chair.
So now you can start coming to this one. And if you feel like you missed the chair class, you can do that one too.
True. Thank you.
Lots of love to you, ladies.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Karen.
Bye. Thank you very much, Stephanie.
You're welcome very much.